Hello everybody, welcome back to Thornton Farm where we're continuing the harvest. Today, Quentin is still in the harvester and still insisting on driving at 2 kilometers an hour when he's unloading, which is wonderful. Thank you for that, Quentin. We're in the fast track and we're about to, by the looks of it, about to be heading off to the yard to, we're going to store up what's in the trailer at the moment. Once we got that done, I think the best bet is actually, as silly as it sounds, getting the Fendt over here with a windrower in the back. Because I think the best way to get rid of all the straw is to make bales out of it. And to windrow it up first, more importantly. Now, Quentin, I've had a word with him since the last video. He's just told me he'd never owned Orchard Farm. I just presumed he did. And he ran with it. So, he's going to be back full time very soon. Here. Which, okay, I can deal with that. I'll give him like one video a week and he'll be happy. But what it does mean, more importantly, is that I need to ring his brother Alistair, who does actually own Orchard Farm, to make sure that he's allowed to give me the harvester. Which adds a layer of complexity to this entire situation. Now, he has asked me on behalf of Alistair to donate the square baler and related stuff to Orchard Farm. And I have no issue doing that. But what that does mean is we're going to need a new baler. In fact, we're probably going to need 2 new balers. Because I want to have a dedicated baler for grass and hay. Just because we make so much of it, and I'm gonna look into over the winter getting another field for growing crops in. Now, that's not a big deal. I was gonna get a new baler anyway. The Massey 5 is maybe a bit too small, and we have the money now to play around with that we can look into other baling options. It's just kind of pushed our timeline forward a bit. You know, it's an inconvenience, but not too big of an inconvenience to be worth it. Or to be worth complaining about at the very least. So let's have a look at baling options that we have. Now the Massey 5, which is... where is it? Where is it? It is gone missing. Fantastic. It is here. Produces 4,000 litre bales. And we're going to keep that. What we're going to do is we're actually going to get a Massey Ferguson 2190, which produces 6,100 litre bales. Now, it is quite expensive at £19,500. But it's... oh, we can get... well, let's get the Fendt 1213 0N then. And we're going to need the Fendt tractor out, as well as the windrower. Because the plan here is to windrow up the crops so that I got nice windrows. I really should have... that should probably be the dedicated hay baler, but I'm going to use it for the straw. I might just use the one baler, I don't know. But I'm going to use it for the straw for sure. Just to kind of get things moving at the very least. This tractor's pulled too far back. Let's get this attached up. And get this over to the field. Now we will use this Fendt as well for baling. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to get kind of a sample windrow done. With hopefully enough straw in it to get a couple of bales out, just see what the bales look like and see where we want to go from there. But I think it's the baler we need, is the Fendt baler. I think that the Massey was a great baler for the little period of time that we used it. We barely used it. So sending it over to Orchard isn't a bad idea. Sending over the bale wrapper as well, not a bad idea. We'll need to get a separate one if we're doing... I don't know if we can even make silage bales. I think we might have to maybe look into getting a round baler. That is a nice looking baler. But, oh, looking at what's going on in my little PDA, I am actually going to need to hop into the fast track again very quickly, because Quentin needs unloading. Yes, Quentin's harvester is full, so back to the fast track we go. While the windrower sorts itself out, I've just left the hydraulics running to unfold it. It shouldn't cause an issue being unfolded like that with the hydraulics continuing to run. If there is an issue, it can be worked out in maintenance time. It's not a big deal. Come on. Unload now, Quentin. There we go. You're gonna get moving again, aren't you? You're gonna be that guy, aren't you, Quentin? You are gonna be that guy. Why you do this, Quentin? Why you do this to me? Like, moving at 2 kilometers an hour isn't really harvesting. It's just... this is just being annoying, Quentin. This is literally just being annoying. Well, the harvester's empty now, so I don't really need to worry about moving along with Quentin. Let's get over to the Fendt and just get... I guess one loop of the field should be enough material to get a good idea of what's going to happen with the baler. So let's get the windrow turned on. And yeah, one loop should be enough to get at least a vague idea. I don't need an exact idea of what the bales are going to look like and, you know, how many I'm going to get per field, but just a vague idea of how the baler performs on the back of this Fendt will be enough for me. Plus, I mean, with the amount of straw on this field, we're not going to get many bales. We're probably going to get 10 or 15 even with that baler. I wouldn't expect to get, you know, hundreds of bales off this field. It's not big. It's not got a, you know, a buttload of straw on it. That might even be enough to get a bale at the back, you know. Let's just finish this loop here and see what kind of numbers we're looking at. Because this is effectively 4 passes from the harvester going into one. And that should give us, at the very least, a vague idea of how everything's going to be happening here. In theory, I know that it's not going to be a fully representative look, but it's going to be enough that we get a vague idea. And I mean, we get to see what the bales will look like on the field and how often they'll be popping out and that kind of stuff. So it's worth doing, I think. Now there's also a lily baler being sold at the moment. You might have seen it in the shop. That's a round baler. That's maybe not great for what we'd want, because a lot of our grass fields are sloped. But if I were to get that, I could work out round baling on a slope and all that assorted nonsense, and we could probably work with it. So that's a full loop of the field done with the windrower. Let's just get that put in over here temporarily, just out of the way. But we're not going to be running over it with everything. It's folded up just so it's a bit more out of the way. Because this thing folds up nice and thin. The lily hibiscus. There we go, that should do. Let's get the baler on the back of this thing to see what happens. Now I have genuinely no idea what's about to happen with this thing. I've heard of people using these and they work pretty nicely, but I've never tried it myself. Never done big bales before. I believe they're called Heston style or Heston size. So it should be interesting to see how this works. And of course, we'll be able to keep count of the bales as we go. Harvester's going to be full of a really awkward place by the looks of it. But let's just see how this will work out. We need to unfold the baler. It's got hydraulic actuators, which is really nice. Get the pickup down and get baling, I suppose. Let's see how this performs. If it's good, whoa, okay. We've already got a bale made. That's going to be the loosest of all the bales because there's nothing to push against, really. This one's going to be a lot tighter. And once a bale drops, we should be able to know about it just by looking in the mirrors. Because when a bale drops, they're going to be big bales. They're going to be visible. Oh, bale's already dropped. Fantastic. Let's have a look at how this looks. See, that looks nice. They look like nice, tight, big bales. Let's have a look at this thing. That is a good looking bale. Looks tight, looks like the yeah, it's wire. Interesting. Might see how baling twine does in this thing. Yeah, it looks like we shouldn't have many issues with this baler. Other than, you know, clearing out the fields, because these bales will have to be stacked manually. There's no auto stackers available to my knowledge for these, which is inconvenient to say the least. Although I think Heath might make a chaser, which just gives me something else that I'd need to buy, really. But that does somewhat stack the bales, so that might be an option. Moving forward though, I think these big bales are going to be exactly what I want in definitely the hayfields. Because these are going to be nice, big, tight bales with a lot of capacity. We can fit a lot of hay into one of these. We can not need to worry as much. And I mean, it's going to be the same amount of hay, just in a bit of a more convenient package. Slightly bigger, but more convenient. So let's just get this round done here and we'll get a bale number. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4. Probably 5 is behind the harvester there. Looks like about 10 just off that one round. 9 bales off that one round there. That okay, this field is going to produce a lot more bales than I thought. It could be up as high as 50. But I think moving forward, that's the piece of equipment we're going to need. Just like I keep saying, for convenience's sake, so that we're not having to run a ridiculous train of stuff around the fields. Actually overshot there. I think big bales are the way forward for me. I think just the one baler should do. Now it does mean that I will need to get a round baler just for silage as well as a round bale wrapper. But when all comes to all, I don't think it matters all that much. I think that moving onwards, yeah, these are going to be more convenient because, yeah, it'll mean I'll have to manually stack them and that's going to be painful, but honestly, looking at it from a convenience point of view, yeah, it's going to be these bales I move forward with. I've still got the baler running. Oops. Let's just leave that in the field there because I want to get more windrowing done. I want to get... we're going to have to go straight into straight lines here. Wow. Okay. I was hoping to get a second headland done, but just looking at it there, there's not actually room. There's not actually enough material there for a second headland to happen. Unless I were to wait until the harvest is finished, which I don't really want to. So we'll get this attached. And get on the move again. Unfold. This looks to be about where I want to be starting these lines. Windrow unfolded and down. And away we go. Now this is going to put some wear on the rake for sure. And I am fully aware of that. However, it's going to put a lot less strain through the baler. I've heard these big balers just like having a lot of material thrown into them at once, even if it's a lot of straw, so there's not going to be a whole lot of damage done by me just basically throwing straw at it and hoping it sticks. I mean, especially seeing as it's only the one field of straw, and then everything else is going to be, hopefully, really good hay. The downside is going to be trying to get these things to feed the cows. Because I don't know if they make a mixing wagon that'll suit these. That's gonna be our big issue is actually feeding the cows with these things. Granted, the cows haven't arrived yet, but they are coming soon. Which means we need to start thinking about mowers. And I don't know if the Massey is the right mower moving forwards. I think with the amount of land we have, even a rented Big M might be a better option. Or looking into some sort of hire purchase kind of thing with Crone themselves might be the way we want to go with that. And we've already caught up to the harvester. Holy cow, that's what, 4 windrows and we're all caught up to the harvester here. In fact, we're so caught up I'm going to have to move the JCB. Because that is actively in the way here. Let's get it over that windrow there. In fact, we're so caught up I might have issues with the harvester itself. Just looking at it there, we might run into an issue with the harvester, a harvester windrower network. No, we don't. Fantastic. That means we can actually get this thing back onto the baler and start running through some material. That is actually a best case scenario here. So let's get that turned off. And where do we even want to store this thing? because we're going to need it again in this field. I don't think it's worth folding it up all over again, so I guess over here in one of the previous bale bits, this former headland can mind the rake for me while I go and get the baler reattached, because we're going to be doing some baling, as it turns out. This is something I didn't really expect to be able to do today. I was expecting, you know, harvest and windrowing and harvest and windrowing, not harvest, windrowing, and then getting the baling done, because we've got so much windrow that that we can't actually do anything else. Yeah, we have to stop windrowing because, well, the harvester's there. And that's not something I expected to happen at all. And looking at it again, we can get another load in after this one, I think. We'll see what the percentage is like. We're at 62 starting off. If we're anywhere near 90, that's just not going to be something we can do. %, yeah, we're gonna have to bring this back to the yard and store it. There's 90, and combine isn't empty yet. 94%, we'll call it, 95%. Yeah, we're gonna have to just throw this into storage before we start on the baling. But yeah, holy cow, we're powering through the work at the moment. Now things are going to come to a bit of a juddering halt when it once we got this done, because the next job is going to be the boring one, which is more grass work, because we need to get at least some silage made. And I'm thinking of some pit silage as well, from what we get off Stonehenge over there. Then figure out from there what we want to do. Also, we gotta get some compost down onto that field so that we can start getting it prepared for next year and the next harvest. But and we need to do some forestry. We actually need to head over into the forest again and sort out the... We'll get a bunch of wood. We need to basically get at least kind of 3-4 loads of wood over from the forest. We need to start planting up some more trees. In fact, can we afford a planter for the trees? That's not a planter. 26k, we've got 2,000. We're 2,000 short here. You can buy pallets of saplings at the shop to fill this. Okay, so how many saplings come in a pallet? And someone else for 20 saplings for £40. There's no larger method. Okay. That's not ideal, but it's something we'll have to deal with. And poplars are different again. I mean, poplars you can only really get wood chips out of when you're harvesting them. So poplars aren't what we want. It's going to be fir trees, and we're going to want a lot of them. So many in fact that I'm going to actually plant that area there up with trees as well, because we're going to basically want to throw as many trees as we possibly can at this or at the industrial estate. We're going to plant up that field, we're going to plant up the meadow at the yard, possibly going to plant up the field beside the shop up here. We're going to get rid of... We're actually going to lose some hayland, and I completely get that that's kind of going against what the... what makes sense. But the more material we can get out of the industrial estate, and it's going to take a few years for the trees to even grow in, so we can, and kind of more to the point, we can still bring the grasshopper around, mow up around the field, around the trees, so it's not like we're losing cropland. We'll just have to harvest in a different way. But we can work around all that. Even if it means we got to get some small equipment in and you know, work with some small equipment just to fit around the trees, we can do that. It's not the end of the world. You know, I've heard of the hay bob being used around here. We can get some small bales made. We can use that sort of equipment if we absolutely have to. But for our main harvests of hay and straw even, yeah, we're going to be using this big baler because it's clearly just better than what we were using before. And if something's just clearly better, then why wouldn't you use it? I mean, sure, it's less bales and they're slightly higher density and slightly larger, and you're going to fit less onto a trailer, but you're actually going to probably fit more material onto the trailer at the same time. As silly as that sounds, you're probably going to fit less bales but more material. So the issue I'm going to run into possibly is that the trailers will be really top heavy. But is that really all that big of an issue? If I drive carefully, no. I mean, the only real issue there is that the Manitou is going to be used for a lot more than it currently is, and it's going to get even more wear and tear on it. Just going to ignore the combine for a minute while we finish up this baling here. I think in the next video we'll be finishing this field entirely. And we'll have to make a decision. We'll have to decide how we want to start attacking the grass. Now, Stonehenge is going to be our first hit. Stonehenge we're going to hit first because it's there, the grasshopper's already in there, that's all ready to go. But after that, it's really going to be a case of how do we want to attack the rest of the grass, the main crop fields. Because as much as I like it, the massive moor is just too small. I think we made a mistake in selling the butterflies. But I also think we could improve upon our current capacity by getting a big M. And as much as that costs money, and as much as we'll probably have to take out a loan to get it, and we'll need a silage baler as well, because this is going to be our silage crop. It's a bit too cold now, a bit too damp to be making hay. There's too much of a risk of rain. So I think our better bet is to make silage and to get some sort of combination baler. Now there are two available to us at the moment. And I can go into the shop while Quentin is emptying out here. And the two available to us at the moment are the... where is it? Kuhn FBP 3135 for £135,000. As well as, if I can find it, the... where is it? Where on earth is it? There should be a second one somewhere. The Krone Ultima, which produces bigger... oh, that produces bigger bales. And it's 10,000 more. The Ultima is probably going to be our best bet. Now, the Ultima has more long-term costs. Because Quentin, stop. Quentin, stop. Quentin, do not turn. Quentin, I will actively block you here. Stop turning. I need to unload your combine, because if you go where you're trying to go right now, it's just not going to work. So I'm really sorry about this, Quentin, but I'm going to have to actively block the combine. So I think, how much would be to rent a big M? 15,000. Hmm. 15,883. Interesting. 839 if I don't want one of custom rims, which I can completely understand. So, I think in the next video on Friday, we'll be doing two things. Number one, we'll be finishing up this wheat and straw harvest here. Finishing off the bales and just leaving them for a little bit. Until I hopefully can find a chaser of some description. And number two, we'll be three things, I guess. We'll be getting Stonehenge done. That'll be number two. And number three is we're going to rent a big M and start mowing. Now, I don't know where we're going to get the money to pay for the baler, is the issue. So we might have to make more hay and just forget about the cow idea. Alternatively, we could take out a loan and buy a baler. So it's kind of 6 of one, half dozen of the other there. Because either way, we're going to lose a bit of money. But that's something I'll think about. And I'll get back to you guys on Friday about it. Until then, I'll leave you by saying I've been RainbowDave. You've been watching Farming Simulator 17 on Thornton Farm. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you did, hit the like button, hit subscribe, watch the playlist, watch the Orchard playlist as well to find out what's been going on Quentin's side of things. Until next time, stay safe and goodbye.